The Silence of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Terminator 2, Judgment Day is by far the best movie of the whole Terminator franchise, and we love it dearly. Arnold Schwarzenegger loves it too, but perhaps his reasons are a bit different from ours. To star in the movie, Schwartz was paid a whopping sum of $15 million. During the movie he utters no more than 700 words, which makes it roughly $21,429 per word. The basketball scene, Alien, Resurrection. One might wonder what a basketball scene is doing in a movie like Alien, Resurrection, but it definitely served a certain purpose. It was to showcase just how badass Ripley had become. Thus, directors created a scene where Sigourney Weaver had to make a really tricky shot without even looking. The scene was supposed to be CGI, but Sigourney Weaver just went and did it for real. It took her a couple of takes, but she did it nonetheless. The first ever flushing toilet, Psycho. While the Hitchcock classic used all kinds of disturbing things to stun the viewer, many remember this movie for a whole different reason. It appears that Psycho was the first ever movie to show a flushing toilet. Apparently it's the thing of evil and shouldn't ever be shown on the big screen. It also turns out that the movie's screenwriter was so keen on including a flushing toilet in the movie that he even wrote a special scene for that. Shoes and Potatoes, Star Wars, Episode V, The Empire Strikes Back. People who work on the production of various blockbusters always have the temptation to sneak things into the movie. No one will even notice the smallest of details, so why not have some fun? This is exactly what happened with Star Wars, Episode V, The Empire Strikes Back. It's hard to see properly, but what you see is actually a shoe and a potato flying by the asteroid. Production designers are all powerful and shouldn't be messed with. Michael Bay and his hate for cars, Transformers, Dark of the Moon. We might not like what Bay's doing with the Transformers franchise, but we should give him credit. He does blow up a considerable amount of vehicles to impress his viewers. In fact, during the filming of Transformers, Dark of the Moon, more than 532 cars were destroyed. You might think that the budget of the movie wouldn't cover that, and you'll be right to think so. The cars were actually gifted to Michael Bay by an insurance company. All of them were damaged and had no value. Michael Myers vs. Captain Kirk. Halloween. Star Trek fans will probably never believe this fact, yet it's absolutely true. Michael Myers' eerie mask from the all-time classic Halloween was actually a Captain Kirk mask covered with white paint. One might think that something as iconic as Michael Myers' creepy mask was the result of countless hours of hard thinking, but the truth is Tommy Lee Wallace, the movie's designer, didn't have much money to go with, so he just bought Captain Kirk's mask for a few bucks and created the immortal masterpiece of the Halloween horror movie. Hitchcock refused to meet Spielberg. Jaws. Steven Spielberg has been fanboying over Hitchcock for decades, and you can easily feel the influence in almost all of his movies. Hitchcock even provided a voiceover for the Jaws ride, and that's when young Spielberg decided to meet his idol. He went on lingering near the master's movie set, but Hitchcock asked for him to be removed. Why? Apparently, he was paid too much for the service he had done and, as Hitchcock put it, felt like a whore. Perhaps a payment of $1 million was a bit of an overkill? The genius of Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight. We all know just how amazing Heath Ledger was performing as Joker in The Dark Knight. But at first no one on set had any idea what the new Joker would look and sound like. Michael Caine was among the unsuspecting crowd and was so frightened by Heath's transformation during the first time he saw Joker, that he completely forgot all his lines. The scene in question was at the very beginning of the movie, and you can easily see how the iconic Joker magic could have distracted the actor. The spooky lighting. The Passion of the Christ. Something truly eerie happened on the set of The Passion of the Christ. Jim Caviezel, who played Christ in Mel Gibson's controversial motion picture, was actually struck by lightning on top of the mountain. The same mountain where Jesus gave his Sermon on the Mount. It might, of course, be just a coincidence, but if so, it was an exceptionally spooky one. Was God angry with Mel Gibson's movie? Or was it just the lack of luck? We'll never know for sure. Gillette for Women, Star Wars, Episode I, The Phantom Menace. Star Wars were made so carefully and with such attention to detail that you don't ever expect to find something out of place. Yet if you take a closer look at some of the props, you'll realize that they were made from simple everyday objects. For example, if we take a look at Qui-Gon Jinn's communicating device, we'll easily notice that it's not what it looks like. It is actually the Gillette Sensor XL razor for women that was decorated a bit to look fancier. Well, we must admit that it worked and no one hardly ever noticed what it truly was. Apart from the most attentive fans, that is.